There's a lot of rhetoric going around these days that trans people are under attack, I guess. And that's kind of what led to that recent mass shooting at the Nashville school, where 6 people died at the hands of a transgender individual, because there's so much rhetoric going around that transgender people are under attack and that their lives are being threatened. I tweeted out the rhetoric that transphobes want transgender people dead is 100% coming from Democratic politicians and left-leaning media outlets and pundits. I will repeat that for the people on audio. The rhetoric that transphobes want transgender people dead is 100% coming from Democratic politicians and left-leaning media outlets and pundits. Take a look at this. This is a perfect example from Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks of where this rhetoric is coming from. Watch this.
I'll be a little bit of a hypocrite here, but it's not. I'll explain why I'm saying it. I don't like guns. I would ban assault weapons in a second. We can go on and on about the gun control that we need in this country. And I always tell people, don't get guns. It'll make you less safe. I'm gonna make an exception here for trans people. They are actually in danger. They have had hundreds of laws passed against them. They have right-wing media ginning up fear against them 24/7. They are targeted more than any other group in America. And if anyone should get guns, it should be trans Americans, okay? Because I'm worried for them. I'm worried that the right-wing lunatics are going to attack them as they have over and over again. And by the way, it's not just right-wing lunatics, other people attack trans folks as well.
Did you notice how he said guns make you less safe? I am trying to wrap my head. No, there is no logical way to understand that. How a gun will make you less safe. If somebody was attacking me and I had a gun in one scenario and no gun in another scenario, which scenario would I be more safe in? Obviously the scenario where I had a gun. So I completely reject the logic, the illogic, I guess, that guns make you less safe. It's illogic. Don't buy that. Don't let them sell you that piece of crap line of logic. It's not logic. It's illogical. Now, how he said, listen, did you pay attention how he said, like, there's so many laws being passed that's targeting trans people? Now, I will say, obviously, there's legislation throughout our country that is being passed to target trans people, but this legislation is clearly not to attack the individual. It's to protect society and to protect the individual, actually, which I'll get into. So obviously the first example is like the bathroom laws or the sports laws where, hey, if you're born a male, you should go in the men's bathrooms or the boys' bathrooms and you belong in men's sports. If you're born a female, you belong in the female bathrooms and you belong in female sports. I understand that there's gender dysphoria out there. I understand that people believe that they are not the gender that they are. I understand that and I empathize with that. But the answer is not to cross our sports and to cross our bathrooms and to say, hey, if there's a man out there that thinks he's a woman, he goes in the woman's bathroom or the woman's sports. That's not the answer. That is not the answer. The answer, if you want to establish if you want to build transgender bathrooms, sure. Transgender athletics, sure, let's do it. But the answer is not, as I just said it was. And legislation that prevents men to go into women's sports, that prevents men from going into women's bathrooms is not attacking trans people or going after their existence or whatever. Right? Another example is banning how legislation throughout this country, only the Republicans throughout this country, is banning they call it gender affirming care. I call it child mutilation, where children are being allowed to consent to surgeries at the young age of like 16. We have 16-year-olds out there consenting to double mastectomy, having their breasts removed because they've been guilted or confused into thinking that they might be actually a boy instead of given the mental health treatment that they need. That's being banned. You think that's an attack on transgender people? I think not. Saying to a 16-year-old that, hey, I get it, you might be confused, you might think you're a boy, but hey, let's work some things out before we chop off your breasts. Hello? Is that okay? Can we do that? Can we maybe let the kid grow up and maybe have a fully developed brain by the age of 25 before they make a decision to chop off their breasts in irreversible surgery? Can we do that? Is that an attack on transgender people? I think not. And for you to say it is disgusting. I'm over here protecting kids. I want kids to grow up and make a decision when they're grown up. I want kids to survive a mass shooting attempt by arming staff and teachers. I want to protect kids. And it's a parent who does not want to protect kids. It's a parent who wants these crises to continue to prosper so they can go after the gun. So they can continue this divide amongst the people. It's very, very sad. So I'll close out this thought with this line of thought. So I will say that Matt Walsh, people like Matt Walsh and people like Michael Knowles, they could work on their messaging maybe just a little bit better, I mean, is Michael Knowles saying something like that? He wants to eradicate transgender ideology. I get it. I can see how it's easily twisted and misunderstood. I mean, he's clearly not saying he wants to kill anybody or commit genocide or kill transgender people. He wants to eradicate the ideology. When you understand how words work and you understand what words mean, you can clearly understand that, but he can cool it down just a little bit. So here we have this Jesse guy saying, your efforts to exterminate trans people will not happen. We are stronger than you and you will never win. He's replying to Matt Walsh. Nobody's saying to exterminate trans people. Not Matt Walsh, not Michael Knowles. Nobody's being exterminated. Again, this is the type of this is important. This is the type of rhetoric that creates the monsters who just shot 6 people, including 3 9-year-old children. Jesse replies, deny the existence of a group of millions of people is akin to trying to exterminate them. No one's denying anybody's existence. Nobody's trying to kill anybody, except for the transgender person who just killed 6 people, right, at that Christian high school. Those are the people that are trying to kill people. Nobody's out there nobody on the right is trying to kill transgender people or deny people's existence. Again, if you are a man and you think you're a woman, or vice versa, if you're a woman and think you're a man, honestly, I'm going to accept your feelings. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm not going to deny how you feel. How idiotic would that be for me? That's empathy 101 to acknowledge how somebody feels. But just because somebody feels a certain way doesn't make it reality. I could feel like I'm a cat, but that doesn't make me a cat. Right? I could feel like a billionaire, but that doesn't make me a billionaire. I could feel like a woman, that doesn't make me a woman. Right? The list goes on and on and on. And like I said in my last podcast, what this whole transgender ideology is opening the door to, it's opening the door to pedophilia. Because if children can consent to things like gender reassignment surgery, if a 16-year-old can consent to a double mastectomy, what can they not consent to? And again, if gender is a social construct, if a man can identify as a woman and if a woman can identify as a man, why it can't age be a social construct? What's stopping an adult predator from identifying as an 11-year-old to justify pedophilia? Gender ideology is a Trojan horse to pedophilia. That's all this is. And we can respect each other and we can love each other at the same time and still address it for what it is. Right? We can have the best of both worlds. It's possible. But we let our emotions get the best of us. And we get heated and we allow these evil people to divide us and distract us and to pit us against each other and think that we are each other's enemies just because we have disagreements, but we're not each other's enemies just because we have a disagreement. There are a few evil people that rule this world, and they divide the good people like you and me. They get us to argue at each other because we disagree on abortion or what we should do about transgender bathrooms and sports and stuff like that. Trivial things. And we're divided and distracted, and meanwhile, our national debt is skyrocketing, our currency is devaluing. It's bad, guys. It's bad, and our power and our wealth is being stripped away from us every single day.